You're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. It is Thursday, the 14th day of May 2025, and we're coming to you live from the port. Is it the 14th or the 15th of May? Coming to you live from the Port Mall here in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Adana Kumbi. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it.
Good morning, and my name is Akinlabi Holder, and we are almost there and are almost at the end of the work week. I am very excited. I'm very excited for this weekend. I'm ready for the rest, but we're powering through the rest of the week. We're powering through the rest of the week, Adana.
Especially as there are plenty things to talk about right here on the morning show on Tobago Updates Television, as you are aware. So many things happening in our space, Akinlabi. That's our viewers. Everybody has their opinions, but we all need to be informed. We need to be aware of what is happening in our local spaces. And I'm talking about governance in Trinidad and Tobago, as we are aware. We're still in that transition phase. I find we're taking a little bit long, but we're still there. And we're working out the kinks. We're talking about the COP, the top COP. We're talking about ministries functioning optimally. We're talking about the residence of the official residence of the Prime Minister. We're talking about Whitehall. We're talking about all these things.
Talking about all these different quote-unquote scandals that the ministers are now revealing, all these different sorts of issues.
So many things to discuss, and so of course we will continue to bring the information to our viewers right here on the morning show on Tobago Updates Television, so you have to stay with us. But before we get into all of those conversations, we head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Adana. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, May 15th, 2025. The Ministry of Homeland Security has instructed Commissioner of Police Earl Christopher to proceed on a 66 days vacation leave with immediate effect. Acting Commissioner Junior Benjamin, who has held the role since February 6th, will continue in the position as no advisory has been issued by the Police Service Commission to suggest otherwise. The ministry has assured the public that the operations of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service remain unaffected under Benjamin's leadership. In a formal statement, the ministry also acknowledged Edward Christopher's more than 40 years of distinguished service, highlighting her contributions to policing and national security. Her contract officially concludes today. Up next, with Tobago's tourism industry facing renewed threats, the Innovative Democratic Alliance is demanding urgent, tailored intervention in the wake of a U.S. Level 3 travel advisory that could further destabilize the island's fragile economy. While the warning highlights serious crime in Trinidad and Tobago, the IDA argues Tobago is unfairly impacted by issues centered in Trinidad. Dr. Denise Sawyer-Angus argued a Tobago-specific security strategy, international reassurance of the island's safety and tourism sector reforms. The IDA also stressed the need for long-term diversification to shield Tobago from the future shocks and preserve its economic independence and global reputation. And finally, amid rising fears over home invasions and violent crime, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has announced plans to form a special committee to examine self-defense laws, including a possible stand-your-ground measure. While the move have drawn support from some quarters, others like the IDA political leader Dr. Denise Sawyer-Angus urge caution, warning against rush legislations that could incite vigilantism. Tobago's stakeholders, including Martin George and Watson Duke, offered mixed views. George highlighted the need to balance rights and reasonable force, while Duke fully endorsed the measure as a deterrent to criminal activity. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Biana, for our news there in 90 seconds. And, as we were talking, Akinlabi and I were talking before the news, that there's so much to unpack in terms of what is happening right here in our local spaces. Yes. And some of your news items are kind of concern for us, especially the tourism aspect. But I want to focus a little bit on the governance, if we could stay there for a little while, on the governance of Trinidad and Tobago. Where are we? Does anybody know where are we where that is concerned? Akinlabi, what are your thoughts? Where are we?
Well, I think as you said earlier, we're really in transition. I think persons will feel a bit more comfortable or feel a bit more reassured when Parliament reopens. I believe it's later this month when Parliament reopens. They have their first sitting since the elections. And I think once they start to see that sort of activity and members of Parliament and ministers and senators really start to sit in their role and start to function, we might feel a bit more sense of, okay, the transition is complete and the governance in a real sense has begun.
Well, let's hope for the best. I mean, I know when the administration changes, there is a period where you really have to kind of, review some of the policies.
Yes.
You want to, but for me, I feel as if I'm not hearing enough. This term hit the ground running. I haven't felt that kind of urgency. The only time I felt that kind of urgency was when they were talking about the state of the official prime minister's residence. That's the only thing I really saw urgency on, and I don't feel as if that's a state matter for us to really pause to check up on. There are so many things that we need to pay attention to. I don't know, Bianna, where are you where that is concerned?
The transition period is a bit slow for me because, on the campaign trail, you were hearing that we're hitting the ground running, so doing certain things, and then there's this big lull, and yes, you will have to, you're going into something new. I mean, pick up the pace, let's, get the things going.
Exactly, especially if these things were planned to be prior to campaigning, prior to winning the election. So there must have been a rollout plan. Okay, when we get into office, this is what we're doing on day one. From day 1 to day 5, these are the things we want to achieve. I haven't seen any of that taking place. So I'm, as I said, I'm going to be looking on to see what's happening. And we, the public, we have to ensure that we keep them accountable.
The funny thing about that, Adana, sorry to cut you off, but the funny thing about that is that campaign promises and when you get into office, there's always two different things. They always have to have a period of assessment, because you could say whatever you want on the campaign trail, you have to face the realities when you're voted into office. And sometimes the realities don't line up with the campaign promises, and you might tell somebody in 10 days time I'm giving them a back pay, but then when you go inside the treasury, don't have the back pay money. So
and this is why you have to be realistic and honest on the campaign trail. But the thing is, the sensation of what the promises are is what kind of garners the vote. So I suppose that is the approach they take.
Could be, but like I said, I think the transition period is still ongoing. I'll give them to the end of the month to really settle in and really start to kick off, and I would make my judgments upon them from there.
All right, I will join with you on that, Akinlabi. Bianna, can we say we give them till the end of the month?
Well, yes, I guess it's only human, and so I guess given to the end of the month, let's see what happens.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on set this morning and for bringing us the news there in 90 seconds. We do hope that you have a wonderful day today.
You too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. And of course, we here at Tobago Updates Television, we love a good celebration. And of course, we join with all our viewers. And this morning, our first celebrant is Shari. Do you know this face? Do you know this face? Do you know the voice behind this face? This is Shari Guerra, and we are saying happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope you have a wonderful day today. Outside of being a singer and an entertainer, she's also a football coach. Yes, she's also a football coach, and so we want to say happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and we hope that you have an amazing birthday.
We continue this celebration saying happy birthday to Miss Roxanne Koshi. Happy birthday, Miss Koshi. God's richest blessings on your life. We thank God for you seeing another year. And we thank God for all the friends and family that you're surrounded by, all the love and care and comfort that you're surrounded by. And we know that they're going to pamper you today. You're going to pamper yourself as well. Yes, self-love is something very important. And we pray that everything that you plan for the next upcoming year, and even for today alone, that you will see it come through God's grace. Happy birthday to you, Miss Koshi.
And rounding up the birthday celebrations today, we have Mr. Darren Phillips, known as Apple. We are saying happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope that you have an amazing birthday today. God richly bless you, and we do hope that the desires of your heart are granted according to God's will for your life. So happy birthday to you. And remember, even if we don't have your photograph and even if we don't know what you are celebrating, we still want to join the celebrations with you. So we say happy celebration, but we remind us to include God. Put him first, because he's the sole reason why there's even anything for you to celebrate. Akin Labi, who are we having conversations with this morning?
So this morning we're going to have an extended conversation with Pastor Clive Dutton, who is a former Police Service Commissioner member, and he's going to talk about the reinstatement of the former COP, Earl Haywood Christopher. As well, we're also going to have on Miss Ascala George, who's a spoken word artist, and she's going to talk about the first Citizens National Poetry Slam competition. So those are the persons we have lined up for you today in today's program.
And we do hope, of course, that you could stay with us throughout the conversations. And of course, we also want to get your views, your opinions. So you can leave your comments on our Facebook live stream and our YouTube channel at Tobago Updates Television. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you think. We want your opinion. We want you to be a part of the conversation. It's not just about what we know, but it's about what you know, how you feel, what you think, what you want as well. And that's why we have these conversations. So please let us know how you feel. Whether you are right here in Tobago, you are in Trinidad, the Caribbean region, the United States of America, Canada, England, all of Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, wherever you are, we say thank you so much for choosing us and making us #1 for talk show here in Tobago. And we do hope that you are able to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam. You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies. where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for me house, yeah? I want no shake thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but my cousin Tufina tell me for call all you go get proper thing for put there. Me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me will drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trace Printer down by the place down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward Boy and them Edward people, them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trace Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can't beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday Wednesday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. You know what, on this show we talk about things that concern me, you, and all of us who reside here in Trinidad and Tobago. And this morning we speak with Pastor Clive Dutton. He's a former Police Service Commission member, and we're talking about the reinstatement of the former cop. Good morning, Pastor Dutton, and welcome.
Good morning. It is excellent to be here today. I'm in St. Lucia.
All right. Okay. A pleasure having you on this morning. It seems as if we haven't spoken to you for a little while, but of course it's a pleasure having you on the program this morning.
Yes,
as we speak about this very, very important topic, in fact, a topic that has been on the mouth and the fingertips of many Trinidad and Tobago national as it relates to the reinstatement of the former cop, Miss Earla Christopher Yearwood. Where are you where this is concerned? I mean, I read some of what you said, I heard what you said about it, but I want to have the conversation this morning for the sake of our viewers to go through, especially being a member, former member of the Police Service Commission, in terms of the policies that they have implemented, in terms of the approach of how the whole situation happened and how it rolled out and where we are for today.
Well, to be honest with you, I think the whole thing borders on being disgraceful. I mean, I have to agree with the attorney, and that is Pamela Elder, because it's nothing short of scandalous. So let's go through the whole process. So she's suspended, right? She is arrested by an officer junior to her. Okay, so she has to face, all right, the process. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Roger Gaspard, has told those who came to her, all right, who wanted to be charged with, in this case, a criminal offense. And you will forgive me if I go through the history, because, you know, if you don't study a history, you're condemned to repeat it. So here it is. She imported 2 weapons, right? At the heart of the accusation, of the heart that it constituted a criminal offense. All right. She is sent on leave. Subsequently, all right, freed by the courts. Let's look at that. And the thing is, nothing they could do. If I recall well, on several occasions they went to the DPP, which means you went to the DPP, he gave advice, you went to your office, you came back, you went, you came back, you went. I think was approximately 4 times. So that therefore, obviously, the arresting officer and those who advise her, because I saw last night on social media where Suzette Martin says she was not the only one. I'm not sure she's trying to throw somebody under the bus in addition to herself. So, okay, let's come down. No, let's go before that. And before that, the former Prime Minister is accusing, all right, Roger Best and his team, including a pastor, all right, who it is alleged has several workers at the SSA. Now, don't leave out the SSA, I beg of you. If you leave out the SSA and the former Prime Minister, you miss some links in the chain. Okay, so they have said, the PM said, that he got information that seemed to suggest that SSA, Best and Brown and Company Limited or Unlimited were planning a coup. I think you could remember that, right? was planning to launch an offensive against the state, if I should use my language. Now, with that in the background, with the SSA being a very hot and controversial issue, you have the arrest of the police commissioner. Now, I thought generally the country took that too lightly. And that is the problem with Trinidad and Tobago, but particularly Trinidad. The arrest of a police commissioner is a serious thing. It is even more serious given the huge record-breaking murder rate we had last year. And even though we had a state of emergency, we have still crossed 100, all right? 140, I think it is right now, according to the acting commissioner, Junior Benjamin. So here you have, and the background against all that, but the SSA being accused of high treason, if I should use again my language, you have a situation whereby the commissioner of police is charged, all right, with bringing in 2 high-powered weapons, all right? And guess for who? The same group that was accused by the Prime Minister of staging something unlawful against the state. Now, I have to ask this question, and we come into the 3 days in a short while, and the tardiness of the Police Service Commission. So I have to ask a question now. Well, if you thought the SSA had a horrible, all right, plan against the state, maybe to overthrow the state, and then Ola Christopher imports these 2 weapons, all right, on behalf of the SSA. Now, within her remit, all right, she's entitled so to do that, and the courts have settled that. Where she didn't get a pass mark is the issue of, they said it was lawful for her, to be arrested and suspended, to be arrested once by a junior officer and to be suspended, sent on leave by the Police Service Commission. After she has been cleared and everything is moving at a hot pace except the Police Service Commission, because we understand she has 3 days, all right? So counting 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is a birthday, and Thursday, all right, her tenure would have ended. A letter was supposed to go, and I want to deal with this letter. I almost want you to do the impossible and forget that she has been given 66 vacation. She's sent on vacation leave now. Now, I don't know where the population and all the political commentators who are much more qualified in this field than I am. But if Monday passes, Tuesday passes, all right, Wednesday, we're now on Thursday, she doesn't get a letter telling her to go back to her substantive post. Granted, she only has 3 days. Well, I am saying it could be 3 days, it could be 3 minutes, it could be 30 days. That, to my mind, is immaterial. If you are properly effective, proficient Police Service Commission, and this lady has 3 days or 3 seconds, it means there is shorter the period of time. You must move with greater alacrity to get the letter to her and get the letter to Junior Benjamin. But lo and behold, this must be of serious concern to the population and to the leadership of the society in various areas. Lo and behold, she gets a letter from the Minister of Homeland Security telling her to proceed. She has accumulated 66 days vacation leave, and that she must proceed on that immediately. She doesn't get a letter, all right? The whole country is holding its breath for her to get a letter and for Junior Benjamin, the acting commissioner, to get a letter. But instead of that letter, she gets a letter, all right, that tells her proceed on vacation leave immediately. So no letter, all right. Now something, to my mind, is very suspicious here. So that she has gone on vacation leave. What are our options? Well, our options are to sue the state, and I consulted a very senior attorney yesterday She has to know, all right, if she so desires, because her lawyer, Pamela Elder, has said it is scandalous, nothing short of scandalous. That's the word she used. So she will now proceed, I believe, to sue the state for malicious prosecution and aggravated damages. Listed among such will be the what I think in the minds of some people will be a permanent stain on her character. Remember what the charge is, all right? Is a criminal offense. That is something we mustn't play games with people's character and their image. So that is what she's charged with. All right. That doesn't hold any water, either in the courts or the director of public prosecutions. So she's not prosecuted. A letter was supposed to come. A couple of days passed. I mean, time is of the essence because only 3 days before, it comes to an end. Doesn't get that. And bam, she gets a letter telling her proceed on 66 days leave. So we'll see where that plays out. I think it's going to play out in the courts of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. But I want to say that this state of affairs is very unfortunate, and it seems that we're not learning our lessons. And what we see here is what I keep saying: we're in a failed state. All right? Yes.
Pastor Etienne, I mean, you gave us the history there and you brought us up to where we are right now. And citing that the option for Ms. Christopher is, of course, to sue the state on the basis of tarnishing character. But my question to you is in terms of accountability for the DPP, because they are the ones who gave the authorization for the arrest, the arresting officers and everybody else who was involved in, because now we're saying that there isn't sufficient evidence and there was no grounds for the arrest and the suspension. So what happens now on that side of the fence in terms of how the whole procedure took place?
Well, okay, let me say this about the DPP, for whom I have the greatest respect. Nothing they have brought to him on several occasions, all right, has convinced him that they have a substantial case. Let's put it that way. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So it means, as far as I can see, and this is my opinion, I could be wrong, it is clear that Earl Christopher was not wanted back on the job. And everything was done possibly to embarrass her, to hurt her, to tarnish her character, just so it could be proved. And this is now in the public space. It could be proved in the public space that this person is not fit for office. I am sure Pamela Elder would have a lot to say after, okay, in terms of when I say after today or after today, but I am very concerned. I am very concerned about how we operate in this country. By the way, this is not the first time we have had this kind of situation. We have had in the last 10 years several people acting. We have had a prime minister intervene illegally. All right, I'm talking about Prime Minister Rowley going to under the Bliss C. Prasad Commission, the Bliss C. Prasad Police Service Commission that collapsed. We have seen a failure, all right, of governance there and management, and therefore the list, I think it was Paula May Weeks at the time, did not go. It had every right to go lawfully. Public officials mustn't interfere with the law. If we don't operate by the rule of law, we will operate by the law of the jungle, and that appears to where we are going. I am very, very dissatisfied with the state of affairs, with what is going on with the Police Service Commission and governance here in terms of this issue and the reinstatement of the former cop.
Pastor Dutton, a lot of persons are wondering, what is the process for arresting somebody? We keep asking this question over and over, and we're not seeming to get a very clear answer. Does the police service have to go to the DPP to get instructions, to present the evidence, to get instructions to arrest someone? Or can they arrest someone before even getting instructions from the DPP? Because if that is the case, how was the DPP convinced before and now he's unconvinced afterwards?
Well, the arresting officer in this case was DCP Suzette Martin. Same Suzette Martin whose name was called with the Brent Thomas issue in Barbados, and that collapsed completely. In fact, the Barbados Attorney General said, I'm not pursuing this, all right? We're going to award damages to him. Like he was saying, I don't know how we got involved in this in the first place. So he didn't put up a fight. Remember that? Now remember, we have to study our history. So therefore, they arrested this lady. Now the next thing you do after your arrest, by law, all right, you have a couple of days by which you could hold her. So remember, she was held in the police station. Don't forget that. That is a very important thing. So you arrest somebody. Now, after your arrest, you have to charge somebody. And this is where the Director of Public Prosecutions, you know, he intervenes, he comes in, all right? So they have approached him, all right? Whoever officer of the police service acting on behalf, because while they arrest her, she can't function as a police commissioner, all right? She's in a cell or she's kept in custody somewhere in the police station. All right. So you have gone on then she's released. You have gone on substantive occasions. All right. Several occasions to the BPP. He is not convinced as the operation officer when it comes to charging somebody. The Director of Public Prosecutions is not convinced, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. And here you have a situation where you send her on leave and bam, watch this now, you reappoint, all right, the acting commissioner of police, Junior Benjamin, to continue acting. Now, I don't know, but in my mind, there are a number of things that are fuzzy-wuzzy, all right, in my brain. And I'm saying this must be cleared up. You have a new government coming in. You have a Minister of Homeland Security. This is his first major action in terms of telling her to go on leave. I understand Suzette Martin has accumulated leave too. Let's see what will go there. I say I understand. It is alleged, all right, that there is accumulated leave on her part too. Let's see where that goes. But certainly, you know what somebody told me yesterday, somebody of worth and value in this society, no matter what happens from now on, Earl Christopher's name will be permanently tarnished. And that is very unfortunate. If you don't have the evidence, why are you going to arrest her? And I'm sure the DPP is no fool. He's no idiot, all right, when he keeps telling you. And let me quote him, that the evidence you have will not stand up in court. All right. And then she says, Miss Martin says that it is not over as yet. But the DPP has said what he has said. Until you could drum up or get or find or source a different evidence, new evidence that could incriminate her, you have absolutely no case. And that is why I'm saying we must warn those in charge. We are operating under Police Service Commission, whom I am very disappointed in. We must decide whether we operate by the rule of law and by the law of the jungle. And we can't treat public officers and make them a public spectacle, all right, for everybody to mock if they so wish to mock her.
Pastor Dutton, there's a lot to unpack in this whole situation, and we will continue the conversation, but we have to go for a short break before we do so. So do stay on the line with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going for a short break. We're speaking with Pastor Clive Dutton, a former member of the Police Service Commission, as we go through the phases, the stages as to what has happened with the top cop, return reinstatements, her procedure to vacation leave, and where we are now in terms of the TTPS and policing in Trinidad and Tobago. So do stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. But in the meantime, you have to help us.
Share the live, share the live, share the live.
We'll be right back.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We continue conversations this morning with Pastor Clive Dutton, a former member of the Police Service Commission, as we speak about the situation concerning the top cop position here in Trinidad and Tobago. Pastor Dutton, welcome back.
Guardian now, because the whole media is ablaze with this thing. And I looked at the Trinidad Express, here the headline: top cop ordered to go on vacation leave in a controversial manner. you wait, give me a second.
Pastor Dutton,
Yes.
you know, while terms like those are used and put out in the public space, and you mentioned before we went on the break, you were very, very passionate, in fact, before we went out to the break, in terms of your position where this is concerned, how you feel about it. In terms of, one, restoring public confidence and trust in the TTPS, and also our image to international bodies who are looking on at us, how do we stand up in those spaces?
We can't stand up. We cannot stand up. We can only fall down. Now, give me a second here, because this is the latest. All right? Hear what the Trinidad Guardian says. 2 days after losing in court, former Police Commissioner Erla Christopher and her attorneys are ready to return there after suspension was lifted by the Police Service Commission. All right. This effectively ended here what Christopher's tenure in office, as yesterday was the last day of her contract. She turned 62 today. Here the important paragraph. Here what Christopher, who was sent on 66 days vacation, signed the police service letter authorizing her return to office at 6:21 p.m., hours after the ministry had indicated its decision. In a brief interview with Guardian Media last night, here what Christopher's attorney Pamela Elder said she will be taking, hear this, further legal action in the matter. She says, the next step is court. Can Junior Benjamin act? I would like to see his letter of revocation. Now let's stop there. Now what Pamela Elder, senior counsel, is suggesting that neither Erla Christopher got a letter or Benjamin got a letter of revocation. Elder questioned what legal authority the ministry had to send Howard Christopher on leave, added that since her client was lawfully reinstated yesterday, acting COP Benjamin's appointment also automatically ended. No. I hope it's very early with this new, party in power. It is a very significant thing. So here what Elder is questioning. No revocation letter, all right? But yet the Minister of Homeland Security sends her on 66 days leave. So this is going to end up in court. This is far from over. This is far from over. And I sincerely hope that we do not have a blurring of the line between the Ministry of Homeland Security and the Police Service Commission. All right, who has power over who? Because one says, okay, you should get back your office, and the other one says, proceed on 66 days leave. This is what is questioned in the media today. We are living in very interesting times, and this is going to play off in court where the legal luminaries will make a decision, present their case, the prosecution, as well as the defense, on behalf of the state. This will have to play out. But this has been a very awkward situation. And I think generally, from the time the Police Service Commission, delayed to such an extent, and worse than that, the media could not contact them. I take note of that for 48 hours. All right? That's 2 days. Out of the 3 days, the Police Service Commission, nobody in authority could be contacted. Now, what kind of management style is that? Is that a laissez-faire management style?
Pastor Dutton,
you tell me.
Pastor Dutton, given the way how this entire thing has played out from the time that the former commissioner was charged to now, how do you think this impacts on the image of the TTPS in terms of the fact that the public in general has this perception that the TTPS is very corrupt, and then you have this scandalous issue happening with the Commissioner of Police, and from all perception in the public space, it seems as though it was some sort of malicious internal action or whatever perhaps going on.
Now you're using the word.
So what is it? How do you think this impacts the reputation and the image and the public perception of the TTPS?
Your co-host or hostess made a statement just now, and you have added fire to the fury, because this impacts upon our international image in a horrible fashion. This is the coup de grace. This is the last nail in the coffin. The public had, generally, if they say they had 40% or 35% confidence in the police service, that has gone down to below 10. Now, remember, this is you're dealing with your highest officer in the police service, the commissioner of police. Remember that is who you're dealing with. So when this conundrum takes place and people either don't know what to do and they're hiding from the media, this does not engender any confidence. This further erodes, I want to repeat that for those who in leadership to hear, this further erodes the confidence that people have. The optics is seriously damaged here, all right? And I want to suggest to you today that we have a lot of cleaning up to do. This is not going to go away. Earl Christopher, using a democratic right to appeal, will go to the courts with a very illustrious attorney, Pamela Elder and team. This is not going to finish today. Whoever acts, all right, I would say, whoever acts in that position will have a sword of Damocles almost dangling over his head or her head.
Pastor
yes.
Earlier, when this incident, when she was just charged, when the former commissioner was just charged, we had Mr. Griffith on the show, Captain Griffith on the show, and he stated that while he was commissioner of police, there was a serious culture of infighting, and he made accusations of police officers bringing up malicious charges against one another in order to either get their position or to block them from getting promoted to a position. Right. While you were a commissioner on the service commission, the police service commission, were those issues brought to the attention of the commission? Is this an ongoing issue? Are you aware of it?
Well, let me tell you the most important thing that happened when I was police service commissioner. Watch the dates, 2006 and to 2009. You're dealing with the time of Gibbs and Etwaski, the two Canadians, all right? Let me tell you where it reached. okay, where it reached, well, during that time, they had a secretariat. And this is what I'm saying. I want to bring this issue to you because it's important. During that period, as a secretariat was established. Before it was an administrative assistant doing the communication, but a secretariat was established. Now, unless that is broken down irretrievably, when a police service commission has a secretariat, writing a letter should not be a problem, and writing a letter in time should not be a problem. You shouldn't leave the public to guess. That is significant. So that you always have problems with cases, because when cases are brought to the commission, all right, or brought to remember the police service, all right, the police service commission deals with first division officers when it comes to discipline, and what was established later on was a tribunal to investigate the cases, and the police commissioner deals with the second division. Now, I am saying we have politicized the police service to really destroying it, to the extent of which destroying it. And I think the first thing has to be addressed is the power of the Prime Minister when it comes to selecting a police commissioner. That is a serious thing, because after the Police Service Commission, that is why at the end of the term, I walked away. I wasn't interested in being reappointed, because here you have, we submitted a name, and by now you should know the name, Stephen Williams. We submitted a name, and it went to the parliament and was promptly rejected. So the whole process had to start all over again. And I think from that time till now, all right, the end of my term was 2009, to 16 years, we have gone a couple steps backward. That is what we have done. So that to my mind is the real serious area. And that calls for reform of the methodology of selecting, because how politics operates in this country, if the leader of whichever party in the House, government or opposition, takes a position, you hardly have anybody in the parliament with a testicular or ovarian fortitude to challenge that. There would be history. They could end up in the political cemetery. That is the backward, anachronistic, irrelevant process that we have. And that has got to change if we have to have substantial improvement of the quality of service of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
And Pastor Dawson, you led me to my next question, or my next line of questioning, in terms of where we are now, being in a position of, not a pleasant position, of course, for the TTPS, for the onlookers, for us here as citizens in Trinidad and Tobago, in terms of confidence in the TTPS, and probably possibly a level of respect. In your view, what do you think needs to be done to repair the reputation of the TTPS and the Trinidad and Tobago? Because remember, we have observers, we have onlookers, we have relationships with external entities. So how do we repair that relationship with the TTPS to ensure that we are in a good position once again?
Well, the first thing that has to happen, the first place, as the Police Service Commission must apologize to the country for their tardiness in writing those letters. Because you see, the population is growing up. I want to tell you that. The population is maturing. This last election here proved that to a certain extent. So I am saying the first thing that should happen, there should be a public apology by Dr. Wallace and team. Failing to do so, I have said before, they should demit office. All right, that is clear. Now, we must have an engagement of the authority of the line minister, who is the minister of the new ministry, Homeland Security, in terms of the vacation leave. How long did we know that she had 66 days? All right? Is this political expediency? How long did we know that? All right? Was that just discovered? I'm asking that question. So these issues have got to be thoroughly ventilated, and the public must be brought to speed in terms of why and what. Right? Why and what, first, and why. All right? And did we follow the rule of law? At this point in time, in sending her, it appears to me that this woman's career in the police service is finished unless the courts intervene, all right, and supersede the ruling that has just been given. You're further destroying this woman, Because what the public will say, oh boy, we really had to get rid of this lady, boy. Like it looked like at all costs, something must be wrong. Something in her character, she must be totally flawed. All right? They don't want her there at all. And perhaps there is a reason why they don't want her here. So the public is left to wonder, to speculate, and all the time, this lady's character is being tarnished. Every day this takes place, all right? But in the space of public opinion or in the space of the courts, that is my major point today. And let me just tell you, when you're on the Police Service Commission, you have to have courage, because when I was there was an attempt to politically interfere with the process. The Prime Minister at the time was one who telegraphed to us via a member, and I'm saying this straight, without fear of contradiction, that we should select a certain person. And my response to the member of the commission who told us what the Prime Minister felt. All right, I don't want to judge how we got that information. I told him, as far as I know, the Prime Minister is not a member of the Police Service Commission, and certainly not a member of this Police Service Commission, and that shut down any message being telegraphing. So politicians have a way of being very sly sometimes, and being very savvy in terms of influencing the process, up to the extent that you can accuse them of interfering in the process. And I am saying, if the Prime Minister has that sweeping role of determining who is the Police Service Commissioner, the Police Commissioner, here what happens. That person generally will feel a sense of obligation to the Prime Minister and the views of the Prime Minister. Now, that is a very, very serious thing. And I want to tell you, if you look at the history of the Police Service Commission and leadership and the role of politics in this thing, it's not a very good picture at all. And for the image to change, that has got to change. That has got to change. That is why I gave you that long answer. That has got to change.
So Pastor Dutton, the kind of changes that you are suggesting may take either a change in the constitution or a special majority. In the meantime, we don't know if that will be very likely anytime soon. But in the meantime, what can be done either from a parliamentary perspective or from within the TTPS or from the perspective of the Police Service Commission to really address some of the structural issues that the TTPS has?
Well, the first thing I want to say is integrity must be the name of the game. You see, if you operate with integrity, although there are legal challenges, but if you operate in integrity, you have nothing to fear. But what I am seeing here, this is victimization of the person, the most immediate, in the immediate past, the most recent past of this person, Earl Christopher. So that has got to be addressed. And I am very happy that she's going to go to the courts, because the responsibility now will now lie in the field of the courts. And you're right, because you have to make changes to the Constitution. You have to take a look at the sections around Section 123, if my memory serves right. You have to look at that. You have to ask the politicians and those who have now come in sad to say, you've walked into this, you didn't create it, but you are there now, so you can't moan and cry and groan. You just have to do the best you can do to engender confidence, all right, in the police service. This is vital, and this is critical.
Pastor Dutton, as I keep telling my co-host on this topic, there is so much to unpack where this is concerned, and there's so much still to go through and to talk about. And my hope is that we could bring some measure of resolve, and primarily to bring back the image of the TTPS to a place where there is public trust and confidence once again. Because if we remember, just last year, between mid to the end of last year, we saw a surge in criminal activity in Trinidad and Tobago. And there was that measure of unrest and unease for the citizens, because if you have this situation happening with the TTPS and then you still have to deal with crime, we are hoping that internal matters could be internal issues rather could be sorted out, could be resolved, so that they could have some sort of policy that guides. I mean, there should be a policy, I'm sure that there is, but adherence to a policy, or a policy that is substantial, that people adhere to, so that the operations remain smooth, and so that there aren't mishaps of this nature that will bring that measure of uncertainty to our citizens, so that we could put a handle on crime. Because while there's this alleged infighting, while there's this alleged situation where people, they're not working together, it doesn't appear as if they are working together, we still have to deal with the issue of crime. This is an internal situation that is now affecting the population, is now affecting the citizenry of Trinidad and Tobago. And so we have to come to a place speedily, with the greatest of urgency, to ensure that we could have a handle again on crime in a way that people begin to feel confident and comfortable once again. And we do not feel as if that is happening. So, I mean...
Give me 1 second. Let me say this, because I know we're racing till 8 o'clock, but let me just say this. You have a deep measure of infighting. When I was there on the Police Service Commission 2006 to 2009, you asked that question, it had infighting also. And it appears to me that the public will not, the public's confidence is continuing to fall, because it appears as you have a war between First Division and Second Division, and within the First Division you have infighting. That is how the DCP Suzette Martin could be arresting the police commissioner. So that a lot of work has got to be done within the operations of the police service itself. Because I could tell you, one junior officer told me, you know what some officers are doing? They line up with some guys in the First Division who aren't straightforward, some of them who are crooked, and they feel that is the way for promotion. With that kind of perception and optics taking place, we are in more than a spot of bother, and that has got to be remedied as quickly as possible.
Because somebody has to take action. Who would be the person or persons or the body or the unit responsible for ensuring that the things that need to be changed are changed with the greatest of urgency?
Well, number one, you have the issue of the Police Service Commission. Whether they like it or not, they are there at this time. And they are supervisions of this situation. And they have to operate, I repeat, with honesty, courage, and integrity. And then you have the administration of the police service, and you have to hope that in this quagmire, because it is a quagmire, in this quagmire, they have to operate with decency and also with integrity. And then you have the Ministry of Homeland Security, brand new minister, and he and his government will have to operate with the same values that I have mentioned. So all three groups must take this very seriously, because there is something rotten in the state of Trinidad.
The key word there is integrity, of course, to ensure that things run smoothly and run the way that they are supposed to run. Pastor Dutton, in closing, is there any additional information you'd like to share with our viewers this morning?
Well, I would say everybody must bat in their crease, all right? The Police Service Commission is supposed to be an independent body, but sometimes politicians don't understand that. It's supposed to be independent. All right. I remember when I went to my first Joint Select Committee, the chairman, Christopher Thomas, who is now deceased, gave me the opportunity to express my mind to the politicians who sat on the opposites, who opposite to us. And I am saying that let's take this issue of our responsibility very seriously. The nation is on the brink of becoming like Haiti, when the gangs will feel now is the time they could strike the state. And I warn you, there's a particular gang leader who is incarcerated, and he wants to unite all the gangs under his control. And if he succeeds in doing that, he will have more power than Abu Bakr had in 1990. That is what is facing us.
All right, Pastor Dutton, we thank you so much for joining us this morning and for sharing your views and opinions where this situation is concerned. And we do hope, of course, the things that we discussed, we can see some action being taken place in terms of resolving and bringing us back to a place where we feel confident and comfortable as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Do have a pleasant day, and thank you once again for joining us.
God bless. God bless.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Pastor Clive Dutton, a former member of the Police Service Commission, as we speak about the reinstatement, the situation faced as the TTPS faces right now in terms of the top cop position, where we are and where do we go from here. Well, this is where we end the morning show this morning, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, and we do hope that you can stay with us as we continue to have conversations that matter to me, you, and all of us here in Trinidad and Tobago. In the meantime, as we go across, we invite you to help us share the live,
share the live, share the live.
This ceremony serves as a culminating event of the department's commemorative activities in observance of the International Labour Organization's World Day for Safety and Health at Work 2025. This year's theme, Revolutionizing Health and Safety, the Role of AI and Digitalization at Work, inspired the OSH department to integrate technology into all major activities.
I think it's a fantastic idea. I think safety could be overlooked. And as I did in my research, I noticed that it costs billions actually. And the loss of life is in the millions. Just because people are not mindful of some of the simple things. You know, and to have it highlighted in this way is really beneficial.
The fact that persons are now more aware of it, and we see that there is a widening of information. So more persons are now informed about occupational safety and health, and as a result of such, they're actually helping to implement these things in the workplace, and by such, they are now able to put it out there.
When I first was invited to join the safety committee, I understand that safety is part of everything that we do, so it was an easy fit. Safety is part of me. It's not like I went out there looking just to look for an award. I was actually surprised when I was awarded. It was just me doing my work, understanding that safety is over everything.
This is the second year in a row of winning Employee of the Year, and honestly, it caught me by surprise, right? Yes, I work hard. I'm very, dedicated to my job. Probably a little too much. But it feels good that I'm actually recognized for making a change within my division.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
as we converge here at the Victor E. Bruce Financial Complex to culminate the commemoration of Global Money Week through our Smart Sense Video Challenge prize-giving ceremony. We recognize the importance of financial literacy in shaping a secure and successful future.
I feel heartened, excited, and I'm indeed happy because when I looked at the goal of Global Money Week, the goal really is to ensure that all children and young people have access to high quality financial information and education that allows them to make smart financial decisions that can improve their future financial resilience and financial well-being. Today, I'm also heartened to see the students that are represented here today, that we are able to hone the skills that you have embedded inside of you. And from what I've heard, I'm indeed proud, and I feel a sense of accomplishment that with financial literacy and the mandate that we have here in the division, that we are able to bear this kind of fruit and see these kinds of results.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, guys. I am your host, Chanel Felix. I know whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. The Ministry of Homeland Security has instructed Commissioner of Police Earl Harewood Christopher to proceed on 66 days vacation leave with immediate effect. Acting Commissioner Junior Benjamin, who has held the role since February 6th, will continue in the position, as no advisory has been issued by the Police Service Commission to suggest otherwise. The ministry has assured the public that the operations of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will remain unaffected under Benjamin's leadership. In a formal statement, the ministry also acknowledged Harewood Christopher's more than 40 years of distinguished service, highlighting her contributions to policing and national security. Her contract officially concludes today. Additionally, the Tobago's tourism industry facing renewed threats. The Innovative Democratic Alliance is demanding urgent, tailored intervention in the wake of a U.S. Level 3 travel advisory that could further destabilize the island's fragile economy. While the warning highlights serious crime in Trinidad and Tobago, the IDA argues that Tobago is unfairly impacted by issues centered in Trinidad. Dr. Denise Soyafat Angus urges the Tobago-specific security strategy with intentional reassurance of the island's safety and tourism sector reforms. The IDA also stressed the need for long-term diversification to shield Tobago from further shocks and preserve its economic independence and global reputation. And finally, amid rising fears of home invasion and violent crime, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has announced plans to form a special committee to examine self-defense laws, including a possible stand-your-ground measure. While the move has drawn support from some quarters, others, like the IDA political leader Denise Soyafat Angus, urge caution, warning against rush legislation that could incite vigilantism. Tobago stakeholders, including Martin George and Watson Duke, offer mixed reviews. George highlighted the need to balance rights and reasonable force, while Duke fully endorsed the measures as a deterrent to criminal activity. And that was our news in 90 seconds. Now, this morning we kickstart our conversation by chatting with the president of the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association, Mr. Curtis Douglas, who recently came out and called for an urgent meeting with the Prime Minister as it pertains to flying fish and a number of other issues affecting fisherfolk on the island of Tobago. Good morning, Mr. Douglas, and welcome.
Good morning to the entire team and to Trinidad and Tobago. Special good morning to each and everyone.
So you called for a meeting or an audience with the Prime Minister, one that you deem to be urgent. Tell us about some of the key issues that you believe that you need a direct conversation with the Prime Minister about, as opposed to having the Chief Secretary convey the sentiments faced by Tobago fishermen on your behalf.
Basically, sometimes when you need things done properly, sometimes you gotta do it yourself. And being the president of All Tobago Fisherfolk, we are struggling for the last 20 odd years with the invasions of Venezuelans, Bajans, Indonesians in our waters. And what does that mean? That means quite clearly we have not enough protection, and they are even depleting our fish stock. And 3, there was not even a fish stock assessment that's been done. And while that is happening, while the world is turning and they continue coming into our waters without permission or with permission, we don't know. So we as a people and as an organization that have the sovereign interest and the legal responsibility to represent the fisher folks on the island, we are now calling upon it to have a meeting with the Prime Minister so that we can be able to treat with this. Now, make no mistake, the former Prime Minister, the former government, we would have wrote to them asking to have some clarity with this, and nothing that was effective enough was done for the people. I don't know if it's because of Tobago. I can't make any excuses for anyone. All we can say is that we are going to keep the Honorable Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago to her word. And she said, once UNC win, all our we win. So we are going to have that man show, and by that foundation of words in which she would have spread, we are going to hold her to that. So we are asking to have the meeting with the Prime Minister and also the Minister for Fisheries, Lands and etc., the Minister for that department, to also be a part of that meeting, so they can champion the move to ensure, one, that if there's agreement or is a archaic agreement that was done 20 odd years ago, it needs to be in fact, as a matter of fact, it is expired. First to start with. And 2, if the Bajans need to come and fish in our waters, there are certain criteria we are asking for. You know, some people may not understand and say may go way past. The first thing we are trying to make happen here is to make the first step to have that wheel turning, so that we can have a better and a more structured fishing industry.
So are you saying that the agreement that had been met between the previous Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, and Prime Minister Mia Mottley is no longer relevant to the relationship between Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago as it pertains to fishing?
The disturbance and the troubling effect in that, no one knows what kind of secrets they spoke. So that information has not came to us. So we don't know what kind of plans or underhand, or I don't want to use the term underhand, or arrangement that they would have had pertaining to the people or the fisher folks in Tobago that were affected by such. And more so, it is not only the Bajans, the more serious one as well is the Venezuelans, because the Venezuelans are more hostile than the Bajans. So we are saying basically we want some measures to be put in place, and we are saying with the measures, the first thing we want to achieve is a meeting. The second thing we want to accomplish is a baseline rate agreement whereby if the Bajans need to come in our waters, we use a baseline rate of $3,000, 3,000 US to fish in our waters, because we all know when one Bajan boat goes back to Barbados with their catch, they go with something of probably over 100,000 US. So we are saying it is fair. So we'll determine the time range and span, whether it's 3 months, 6 months to a year. That is a discussion we would have, but that discussion must be championed by the all Tobago fisher folk, by the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and also by some representative of the fisheries department in Barbados.
Right, and so break that down a bit for us as it pertains to that proposal for that fee to be paid. Are you saying that all fishing boats entering Trinidad and Tobago waters should pay this fee, or should it be a one-time payment? Explain.
No, it's not a necessary one-time payment. The reason why we have allocated or came to that, because in Tobago, if you do not have a fishing permit, you will be ordered back to shore by the Coast Guard. So we ourselves have to have a fishing permit to catch our fish, and we are the citizens, we are the owners of this island. And if we have to have a permit, that means there are rules. And once there are rules implemented, there must be police and they must be enforced. So we are saying if we have to have a fishing permit, they must also have a fishing permit. You can't come in and go as you please, and the people, the owners of the country, have to have a permit and follow the rules. The rules are there for everyone. So we are saying if we have to get our fishing permit, they must have a fishing permit. And in anything, you must also put a tariff or a price to it. And we are saying for now a baseline, that is, it could be 10,000 US, but I'm saying for a baseline rate to start, we are asking, requesting a 3,000 US, and that will also help to monitor into collecting the data, because what that will do, we will now be able to use some of that money to police, meaning to investigate, to ensure that they use the right type of nets, the right type of lights, and how much tons of fish they are being allowed to take from our waters. And also with that, we will now be able to collect what we don't have with them coming in and out of our waters. It's called data. So once we collect that data and we run a MOU, right? And a pilot project for the next 2 years, we will now be able to compare the first year to the next year to ensure whether our fish stock is depleting or it's increasing or it's stable, so that we could say, well, okay, we have 5,000 tons a boat, we can now increase it because we are seeing the increase or we are seeing the decrease, to say you only could take 3,000 tons, to ensure that we safeguard our future fish for our children and who is coming behind. So these are some of the plans.
Right, and you indicated earlier that the previous conversation between Prime Ministers Dr. Keith Rowley and Mia Mottley in the past was not very transparent, and the terms and agreement of that discussion, or the overall agreement that was met, was not made public. How important is it for this information to be publicized?
Look, we as a nation and a country, we elect people to govern us. And we also expect what we call transparency. And if you do not know that spitting in the road is against the law, you would obviously spit in the road. But when the public is aware that spitting in the road is against the law and they spit in the road, that is more than enough reason to charge you or as such. But if you don't know, if before that the former Prime Minister is talking secrets in the next Prime Minister ears, I don't know. This needs to come out, because we have nothing to hide, because this is the sovereign interest of Tobago and Tobagonians, and more so to the fishing industry. Because make no mistake, when you make a mistake and enter Bajan waters as a Trinidad or a Tobago vessel, you get pulled over immediately. What is wrong with us? So everybody that's walking in and out and do as they please. And if we got to fix this, we need to fix it together. So we need to put aside all our differences and let's work together for the sole interest, not only of the community, but of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. But we cannot do it by speaking secrets in each other's ears.
Right, but as it pertains to the agreement that was made between Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados in 1990, is that still relevant to what happens in Trinidad and Tobago today? Because there was that updated discussion, but it is also the role of the Fishing Society to find out what the details of that agreement is, right? To further investigate, even as that conversation happens, to find out how can you gain access to documents that have a greater level of transparency to allow you to understand what that agreement is, as opposed to coming and saying, okay, they should not do X, Y, and Z or be able to extract this amount of fish, but you don't necessarily know what that agreement is. So even before coming out publicly and saying that they should not be able to do this, you have to know what that agreement allows them to do.
Okay, for example, Chanel, let me just break it down for the listening public and also to you. If you have a driver's permit and it's supposed to be expired in 2021 and 2021 is passed, that means your driver's permit is expired. Plain and simple. So that agreement that you are speaking of is an expired agreement. And even in that agreement, it would have indicated how much tons of fish could have been taken from our resources. And more so, remember, we had less fishing vessels then than now. So quite clearly, the harvesting of the fish has increased a lot. So it's not about only about not knowing. We know what that speaks to, but what we don't have the
updated agreement.
There is no updated, because the updated was spoken in the ears of each other, and we are trying to find out. That's hence the reason why the president and the All Tobago Fisherfolk and the fishing industry are calling upon the Prime Minister or the Minister of Fisheries and Agriculture and Lands to ensure that we have that meeting, so that we can now have the opportunity to iron out any problems or any crinkles or any cracks we can fill it, to ensure that this multi-billion-dollar industry, which is the fishing industry, which is the food, play a major role in the food security for Tobago and Trinidad, we can be able to control, monitor, and guide it and direct it in the right direction in which we want it to go, for not only for the benefit of others, but for the benefit of the people of Tobago and also the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. So hence the reason why we are calling up on the meeting. So finally, we can meet in middle ground and we can work it out, because I said it already and I'm going to say it again. We are not in war with the Bajans. We are not in war with the Venezuelans. We are not in war with Indonesians. We are just trying to protect our interests and to be able to manage our resources and manage it properly. Because no way we will let people come into our country and start to drill oil and just take out our minerals without any structure or any rules that been followed. We must follow the rules. And that is what we are asking for. We are asking for, is time enough? This rubbish, this nonsense should be over, and it can be over by sitting down and have the relevant people to champion the way forward in a simple discussion and fix this. We can do it, but we must be able to do it with the people with expertise, which is the All Tobago Fisherfolk and the ministers. Simple.
Totally understood. Now we're going to take a quick break right here, and we're going to return with much more conversation right after this. See you soon.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Courts is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Courts Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Courts Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, I have been chatting with the president of the All Fisher Folk Association here in Tobago, Mr. Curtis Douglas. Now, we have a new regime that's in power at the central government level. What are some of your expectations from this new administration?
Well, before I even talk about expectation, I would say, those are our two representatives from Tobago. They have done well, the MP for the East and the MP for the West, right? I congratulate them, right? Make no mistake, these are the two people that will be taking the fight to Trinidad, and I hope that they do their best to ensure that, our concerns are being heard, and that is the key, right? So all those who were thinking election is over and these people would have championed the cause, kudos to them. But, so what I expect, they know what are the problems. They know, they live in Tobago. They are not strangers. It's not like we elected Trinidadians to represent us. We elected people who were in the system. Mr. Sampson who were in the system, and Tomohi were fired. So he knows, they're supposed to be or know the problem that Tobago face. So I expect them to represent, because in the campaign, they would have made some utterances for representation and what they're going to do. So I expect nothing more than the utmost best, right? Utmost best. And I hope they take, they would have paid attention to those who were there before. and see what were their shortcomings. Because down there you're all alone, right? But you're all alone. So I expect them to champion some of these causes that Tobago are facing.
And even as it pertains to the new government at the central government level, which is the UNC that's now in power, and the Prime Minister, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, what are you expecting, and what does the all Tobago fisher folk expect as it pertains to a new dawn or a new day, as it pertains to some of your concerns that you have voiced, even as you requested that meeting?
There are so much that Tobagoanians are expecting, and there are so much that as an organization, as the fisher folk are expecting. One, we're expecting the energy resources in Tobago, that when all of these energy companies come to do their research and the exploration, that fishermen will be compensated and not be pushed around and not be lied to and not being dragged through the mud as though we are dishonest. And we also expect that the fishing industry and the agriculture industry will be taken at more serious, because this is food level, and try to eliminate some of the import and try to upgrade on some of the export of local goods and services. So these are some of the things, and we also expect the fishing industry, in the terms of the arrangement, in the terms of rules and regulation, can be set to ensure to govern and also to guide the fishing industry or the economical industry in Tobago, because right now as it stands, the Tobago economic growth is stifling or is being choked as it is. So I expect these are some of the key issues for Tobago will be addressed. And also one of the major issue is not even so much autonomy, but an arrangement, a better arrangement whereby Tobago could be able to make the laws for that the teacher will be able to implement more things and bring more income revenue earning systems, processes to Tobago, so that we can earn and stand up on our own, and also to get a more better fair bite at the cherry in the terms of budgetary allocation for Tobago. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. This is all about Tobago, right? It's all about Tobago, and these are some of the things that we are expecting to be done by the Prime Minister. As I said, she said when UNC win, all of we win. So we expect to win, right?
Right. And even as it pertains to those outstanding monies for the Tobago fisher folk, is that something that you would be bringing up in those meetings?
Yes, because one of those key is the fact that ATFA still hasn't been paid for the oil spill work that we would have done. We haven't been paid in full yet, but we would have realized those type of victimization we should try to get rid of those type of things, because it is not only hurting one man, it's hurting a whole host of family.
Right. But wasn't it said that ADFA would have received $3 million from the THA?
Chanel, if you're working for $5 million and updates only pay you 2 and they owe you 3,
I don't know how much you owe, you are owed, and how much you
I am just saying to you, if you do a job like you're hosting here today and they're supposed to pay you $5 and they only pay you 2, that means they owe you. So I'm saying to you now and to the listeners, it doesn't matter what they pay me. They hasn't paid me my money in full.
Right. And what is still outstanding from the THA?
I will have to check over 3 point something million.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that it's sad that not even a conversation or a message, but on the other hand, what I would have said or seen happening is before election, we would have seen some fisher folk would have get compensated, because this money now that they get compensated recently here was they paid some fishermen before election, and after the election, what they did, they tried to hold a meeting down at fisheries to ask all fisher folk who was affected by the oil spill to come down to fisheries. So you had fishermen going down to fisheries from between the hours of 9 to 12, and that was spearheaded by Derek Leet, right, and the oil spill committee. So here are fishermen going down hoping to get compensated, because they are saying, now, finally, fishermen will now be compensated. So when they go down there now and they meet them, to hear Derek telling them telling them, oh, they are not eligible. The only people are eligible for compensation are the fisher folk that are affected between Scarborough and Lambo. But yet still, the vendors are not compensated in Lambo, the Lambo vendors. None of them are being compensated. But we are seeing people compensated that directly wasn't from Lambo or Scarborough. But hey, I'm not here to make any noise about how they choose. But what I'm saying, if you're compensating, you cannot select few people to compensate them. You must compensate the whole lot. So if you have a
So are you saying that all fisherfolk in Tobago should be compensated, or just the ones who were directly impacted, who often fish on that Lambo area there?
No, you see, you have to understand, because quite like you don't understand. You're saying who are in the Lambo is sometimes not who in the Lambo. It's who fish in that area.
Correct.
Right? So people who I know for a fact that was fishing area was not compensated. Was not compensated. A whole lot of fishermen from Buku, from Pigeon Point, from Plymouth, even Fast Culloden was not compensated. And these men had a fish pot and was catching snappers, and they was not compensated. So they single out who they wanted to compensate and compensate them.
Right. So how do you suggest that they put mechanisms in place in order to properly assess who were directly affected and who weren't? How should the THA go about doing that?
Chanel, they started by asking for the All Tobago Fisher Folk Association input. We are the guru. That's our line. We would have made a recommendation. But when you start to bring in your own people to get the results you want, that's the problem. So what we did, I would have submitted the amount of how many people were affected. I did, right? And then they bring this organization. But this organization is fractured in so many ways. Because when you start to have personal feelings in an organization, then you have problem. Because we all know we try to get rid of what in Tobago we call nepotism. We want to get rid of that. It doesn't matter. We all have to be good. Chanel, this is what hurt me. We all have to be good, and somewhere along the line we all are related. So why victimize? So anyway, what they should have done is, if you have 5 million, Chanel, you work along with me, and let's see how best we can pay these fisher folk, the vendors, and all of these people who was affected, because we need them to restart. We need them to restart it, right? To ensure, and not only just give them the money, we also allocate people to work with them to ensure that they get a restart. That is how we build. Not just give because you like this one or you don't like this one. You know, we should get rid of that kind of behavior. So we need to build a proper structure.
Right. And as it pertains to the All Tobago Fisher Folks Association, what are some of the big projects and some of the big items that you are leaning towards within the next year to ensure that you as an organization help to improve fisher folk on the island?
Chanel, I love that question. And one of the biggest items we have on the card right now is to be meeting the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of Parliament to ensure we can encapsulate and we can put the antibiotics in the fishing industry, and we can clean the fishing industry and put in a proper structure. One, to bring forex to our country. Two, to ensure that we have a landing fish assessment, stock assessment being done, because to do a fish stock assessment out in the sea is very costly. So some of the things we would like to do or to introduce into the fishing community, into the fishing society, is one or two. Either when they pay the $3,000, they either come to Palatavere or Charlottesville or Plymouth, and they buy the fish, this flying fish, from the locals, so we know how much stock, how much flying fish is leaving our shores and leaving our shores of Tobago, so then we can be able to have that data to compare. Or every single Bajan boat that comes into our water, we also send out, appoint people to go out to ensure the tonnage of the fish and the method and stuff like that. So these are some of the main things. Without we do not start the foundation, we will just be spinning top in mud, because I could do a next fish pot program where I'm showing men how to make fish pot. I could do a net program, but if there is not enough fish there for them to go and catch, all those programs is just a waste. So we have to start at the core of the matter.
Right. And are there any tangible investments that you would be making? I mean, even as you are calling for that monies that are outstanding from the THA, can we see ADFA investing in possibly more more boats, or, you know, whatever it is that the fishermen need tangibly to help improve their trade?
Well, what we need to do is what I didn't mention is that we will also have a conversation with the Prime Minister, whereby probably through the ADB bank, fishermen could now be able to upgrade in the size of boats, to have more SOFA loans and have it a program run for the next 8 years to ensure that we have bigger boats so we can go out and stay longer at sea and such. So these are some of the programs, because not everything I would have mentioned in this interview, but those are one of the programs that we have set up. So the last program we would have done, it was done under this same government, which is the UNC government, which is called the Small Watercraft program. So we are still looking to invest and see how best we can champion and go forward and call it the big watercraft program instead of small, because we're looking to see that the fishermen, instead of 2 or 3 of them, can come together and buy bigger boats so we get bigger catch. And also you have other things that I don't want to mention,
right,
because what happens, we realize when people listen to me, they go and they repeat what they hear, but they don't understand how it goes. So we have programs for that, and also program how to get the fish off of the hands of the fishermen. We also have a program for that as well.
Right. And it's important for ADFA to really play that role, not just as an advocacy body, but to also help to provide those resources to fishermen on the island.
Yes.
And so it's important for even the fisher folks to hold ADFA accountable for how it contributes to the development of the industry, not only to go to the THA and ask for those funds to do projects, but to also partner and use the resources that you do have to help to build out that fishing industry on the island.
Yes.
But we want to thank you for coming in this morning and echoing the sentiments that the fisher folk really need to have an audience with the Prime Minister. And guys, we want to thank you for being a part of this discussion. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more conversation after this. See you soon.
People strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are.
You can now get whatever.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49SWIFT 4979 438.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, Customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
And welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, this morning we continue our discussions and we are talking all about fitness, all about the body. This morning I have the privilege of sitting in studio and chatting with Miss Angela Campbell, who is a bodybuilder. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
So recently you would have taken part in that international fitness and bodybuilding Roger Boys competition in Barbados, and you would have placed second in your category. So tell us a bit about that.
Oh, yes, it was really a fantastic show. I went all out, did my best.
Right. And so are you usually training here in Tobago or are you training outside of Tobago? And if you train here, where do you train?
I train myself at home in Tobago.
Right. So are you also training other persons?
Yes, I am actually a certified fitness trainer. So I have clients that I train personal, but I train myself personally because I doesn't have a coach or a trainer.
Okay. And how important is it for persons to understand that bodybuilding is an actual sport, especially here in Tobago?
I mean, it is an actual sport, but it's not much females or much people might want to do it, especially females, because some of them might think they don't want so much muscles or to go through the process of it. So everybody have choices when coming to sport, but I choose this because I love fitness. I love this.
Right. And how has that impacted your self-image over time? Because, there are often persons who say, like, even as a woman, like, don't get too muscular. There's that idea that women should not be too muscular. So how do you balance having that self-confidence and loving the body that you are in and, being really assured about this part that you've chosen?
Oh, the negatives fuel me to train harder, to push harder. So it doesn't matter even if they don't like it or they may say ill stuff. I don't take it personal. I just take it, and when I'm training, I do 10 more reps.
Understood.
But because, it boosts your confidence, and then when you know what you want, and you can decide for yourself and not somebody deciding what you should do, then you just stay top of your game.
Right, excellent. And it has a lot to do with, as you said, having that
confidence and knowing what you want and not what somebody else wants for you.
Yeah. And it's a lot about women having control over their own body as well.
I have control.
Right? And that's a conversation that continues to happen, and persons feel like they should tell women how they should look or how they should not look.
No, you're supposed to look how you want to look. So if you choose to look this way, you go right ahead.
Right. And, in order to have that lean body mass and have more muscle than fat, there's a lot that goes into that.
Yes.
There's the dietary aspect of that. Tell us a bit.
Besides dieting for bodybuilding on a normal basis, I watch everything that I eat. I always eat sugar and carbohydrates in portions. I get times I weigh my food in containers on a scale, so I don't go out and dine and eat whatever. I am naturally restricted to eating certain things. And if even I go out and I eat something, it's just once in a while and very rare. So I'm naturally disciplined when it comes to
Right.
eating.
So the sport does bring about a high level of self-discipline. Tell us, what does a day in the life, as it pertains to your diet, would look like? What do you eat in a day?
Eggs, boiled eggs, chicken breast, fish. If you're using any carbs, if you're using rice, it's like 1 spoon. Or, you use rice cake or bake sweet potatoes, sometimes boil. Coming down to competition, I stop boil, so I bake yam. So just basically that's.
Okay, understood. And how is that for you, even as you have persons that you train? How do you get women to be more confident and involved and want to do the same?
Because besides training them, I naturally have conversation with them, help them to help to boost their self-confidence, their self-esteem. Some people might be depressed, you may not know, but by dealing with them, training with them, then to losing weight, then I'll do like a balanced meal plan. They would not eat like a bodybuilder, but I will just like put their foods into portion what I want them to eat, because they are trying to lose the weight and gain some muscles and tone up. So bodybuilders just have to eat like bodybuilders. But beside that, my clients don't eat like the way I eat.
Right. And now you came second in this competition that took place in Barbados. What does the first, second, and third prize look like for these type of competitions?
They looks beautiful.
Is it a monetary prize that persons win?
No, the first place will win like their pro card. So they will actually turn like a pro bodybuilder.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this allows them to enter into
a pro
larger international competitions. And that helps them to go on to other levels of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a qualifier.
Yeah. So when you get your pro card now and you decide to go to a pro show, then there's where you compete for money. So first prize will be whatever is 9,000 US, 6,000 US, or 7,000, whatever price. Yeah.
So are you planning to do other international shows, possibly travel to the US?
I have CSC coming up in September. That is 3 months from now. So, it's just back to training. And so I have 2 competitions in St. Lucia, because I have to go back there to defend my fitness challenge championship that I won in Guyana last year.
Right.
And then I'm going to do over women's physique in St. Lucia. So it will be rough, because it's a bodybuilding one day, fitness challenge the next day, lifting weights, but your body already done in a state from bodybuilding, and then to go into fitness is just, but my mind is already prepped.
Right. And as you said, with those fitness competitions, there are a lot of those that happen in the US, where you have a fitness challenge where you have a time period, maybe it's 5 minutes to go through a course of doing different exercises. It's time.
That is like the fitness challenge that I'm going and do in St. Lucia. So it's 2 minutes work, 2 minutes rest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so are you planning to go to these in the US as well? Or?
Well, once you get your pro card, you can go. Or if even you doesn't have a pro card, once you get sponsors to do a world show, like an annual classic or whatever, once you get the sponsors, you can do one of those shows without having a pro card. But because I doesn't have the sponsors to do a world show, that is why I didn't do any as yet.
Right. And we see a little bit of your performance here in that last competition.
Yes, that's
excellent. Now, are you seeking sponsorship and support to continue your bodybuilding journey? And if so, how can persons contact you if they also want to get involved in bodybuilding or just support what you have been doing?
They can contact me by 399-3696.
399-3696. And so that's for persons who may have also had this bodybuilding dream and want to see it actualized.
Of course,
they can contact you and get that training.
If someone come to me and they have that dream and they want to go and say, of course, and all my pleasure, I'll push them because I just said, well, live your dreams, do more of what you love.
Excellent. And we want to congratulate you on placing second in that Roger Boyce tournament that took place in Barbados. And we want you to continue to do your best and wave that Trinidad and Tobago flag high wheresoever you go. And is there anything that you want to say to any of your supporters, friends, family before we wrap up the discussion this morning?
A big thank you to everyone who supported me, whether text, whether in person. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone. It was greatly appreciated.
Excellent. And, from that little clip that was played by the producers, your body looks really, really good. And so we hope that you go on to win that next competition in 3 months, right?
Oh, thank you.
All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's discussions. Thank you for your likes, your shares, your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and have a great day.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand